The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
Hello, this is Friday's news. Thanks for joining us. In this edition, power generation capacity reduced. New SIPM confronts West Papua issue, and Kumuls and Orchids merchandise unveiled. The National Weather Service has placed the National Capital District in the drought-critical status, predicting that basic services like water and electricity could face disruptions. Provinces under drought alert are now Central, Chimbu, Enga, Hela, Manus, Western Highlands and Eastern and Southern Highlands are currently under watch and alert statuses.
With an El Nino now officially declared and climate models forecasting to last until early next year, the National Weather Service is tracking significant shifts in the country's weather patterns. In its June 2026 drought update, NWS stated that the National Capital District is currently in a drought-critical status, showing severe exposure and extreme vulnerability levels according to NWS. This 3-month timescale indicates that basic services, including water and electricity, are likely to face disruptions. Provinces under drought alert are now Central, Chimbu, Enga, Hela, Manus, Western Highlands, and Eastern and Southern Highlands are currently under watch and alert statuses. NWS noted that prolonged dry conditions in specific highlands provinces are already affecting agricultural produce and local water resources, and warned of the high risk of bushfires occurring given the dry vegetation cover. The Weather Office confirmed that access as model forecasts below normal rainfall over most of PNG from July through September. Alongside El Nino, a positive Indian Ocean dipole is likely to develop in the coming months, further driving drier conditions. IOD is an irregular oscillation of sea surface temperatures in the Indian Ocean. It plays a massive role in global climate patterns affecting weather in countries by shifting between 3 distinct phases. Communities are encouraged, especially in the NCD and Highlands regions, to conserve water, manage agricultural resources wisely, and practice fire safety. Jasmine Erojak, TVWAN News.
The power generation capacity at Rauna power stations have been reduced due to reduced water flow into the turbines there from Sirinumu Dam. PPL is supplementing this reduced hydro output with diesel thermal generation at Moitaka Power Station to maintain grid stability and minimize the number of feeders currently being on load shedding.
The prolonged dry spell has left Port Moresby without rain for weeks, affecting water levels at the Sirinumu Dam. The dam has a maximum storage capacity of 340 million cubic meters of water. As of 21st June 2026, the dam stood at 71.06% of its full capacity, holding 241.82 million cubic meters of water. Uncontrolled river inflows into the Rona 2 gauging station averaged just 0.25 cumex from May through to June 2026. These low levels have accelerated the dam's volume drawdown, and in order to ensure power continues to be generated under these circumstances, PNG Power has closed off several of its siphon pipes that assist with releasing additional water. The dam is equipped with 10 siphon pipes, and under normal operating conditions, these pipes have a combined release capacity of up to 7 cumex. However, only about 5 to 6 pipes remain open, leading to reduced performance due to the declining water head and lower suction pressure caused by the falling dam level. The decline in dam level is attributed solely to the prolonged dry conditions and reduced natural inflows. Power generation at Rona is tied to water volume and pressure. The higher the water inflow and pressure, the higher will be the generation capacity and vice versa. For now, power rationing has been carried out in the city to ensure everyone gets some power throughout the day. PNG Power is actively working to restore forced outage thermal generators and is progressing the recommissioning of Rona 1 and Rona 3 hydropower stations to restore additional generation capacity to the Port Moresby grid and ease the current load shedding burden on consumers. These conservation measures are anticipated to remain in place for up to 10 months, in line with the forecast duration of El Nino drought conditions as advised by the National Weather Service. PNG Power will continuously review and adjust these measures as drought conditions evolve. PNG Power urges all residential, commercial and industrial customers in NCD and Central Province to support these efforts by practicing responsible energy usage during this critical time. Ruth Rongola, TVWAN News.
Solomon Islands Prime Minister Matthew Wale, in his meeting with his PNG counterpart, Prime Minister James Marape, highlighted the humanitarian welfare of West Papua. He held brief discussions surrounding West Papua's independence, stating this matter needs to be publicly addressed.
Solomon Islands Prime Minister Matthew Wale emphasized the significance of the Melanesian Spearhead Group, or MSG, doing bilateral talks with Prime Minister James Marape today at Melanesian House in Port Moresby. He noted that MSG should remain free from external influences while fulfilling its purpose of uniting all Melanesian nations.
Melanesian Spearhead Group is an important platform that specifically focuses on our interests in the sub-region. And so we had some discussion around what should be happening. I think there are some disappointments generally with the MSG that it could be more effective and have more robust processes in place. That's something I think we must continue together to work on going forward.
The conversation also focused on West Papua's request for independence. Both Prime Ministers indicated to support West Papua's bid for independence while preserving PNG's and other Melanesian nations' diplomatic relations with Indonesia.
We discussed briefly the issue of our people in West Papua. We want to be good friends with Indonesia, so we don't want to antagonize Indonesia, but we are concerned about human rights situation in West Papua, and the Prime Minister has some good suggestion as to how the dialogue with Indonesia could happen that would encourage less paranoia, I suppose is the word, less paranoia about the rights of our Melanesian brothers and sisters in West Papua. There's no need to hide away from the issues of West Papua. There's no need to sidestep any of it. We need to talk about these things openly, and we want to say to Indonesia, we're your friends.
Prime Minister Wale's bold move to have future discussions with Melanesian countries on issues of West Papua's independence is solely based on humanitarian grounds. Mason Lewis, TVWAN News.
The Teaching Service Commission says it does not control teachers' registration amid reports that thousands of graduates are being delayed. Acting Chairman Mike Ugaya says registration certificates are issued by the National Education Department, not the TSC. He says the Commission's role is limited to employing and deploying teachers into the system. More than 3,000 graduates were affected by delays this year. TSC is now urging those already teaching to submit applications immediately, while others are advised to apply for the 2027 intake. The 2026 Westpac PNG Economic Update for June indicates that PNG's mining industry achieved significant export earnings in the initial 4 months of this year, showcasing a stable production pattern amidst challenging price trends driven by the Middle East conflict.
Papua New Guinea's gold exports to Australia totaled an impressive 6.51 billion kina in earnings, while LNG shipments to Japan brought in 3.29 billion kina, both from January to April this year. For gold exports, the revenue generated reflected an increase of 1.49 billion kina from 5.02 billion kina in the same period in 2025. Westpac senior economist Shamal Chand noted in the report that the increase reflected both higher export volumes and earlier elevated gold prices driven by geopolitical uncertainty. Chand added that gold miners have not only benefited from prices but have also outperformed production forecasts, particularly among major operators, especially the expansion of K92 Mining Limited's last year. Similarly, ongoing production growth in projects such as Kainantu Gold Mine and steady output from operations like Ramu Nickel and other resources projects point to a broader trend of mining sector outperformance, with firms delivering higher than anticipated volumes. Chand also highlighted that despite the strong performance, the gold outlook is moderating or softening as rising interest rates and reduced safe haven demand weigh on markets, meaning price environment will be less supportive in the second half of the year. On the other hand, PNG LNG export to Japan recorded an increase of 40,000 kina from the 3.29 billion kina in the same period in 2025. The marginal increase in export value to Japan despite global LNG prices surging signifies operations under long-term contract arrangements. However, the dominant driver of LNG export performance has been the global price cycle shaped by the Middle East conflict. Chan said in early 2026, disruptions to shipping through the Strait of Hormuz and damage to regional energy infrastructure created a significant supply shock, tightening global LNG markets and lifting prices. The supply shock has greatly supported PNG's export receipts despite modest volume gains. Jasmine Erojak, TVWAN News.
Prime Minister James Marape has welcomed the introduction of a modern electronic recruitment system by the Department of Personnel Management, describing it as an important step in the government's wider reform agenda to build a more transparent, efficient, merit-based and accountable public service for Papua New Guinea. The new electronic recruitment system is designed to modernize the appointment of agency heads across the government and replace outdated manual processes with a centralized, automated and more transparent system. The electronic recruitment system enables government agencies to assess eligible candidates through structured and criteria-based processes, including consideration of professional qualifications, experience, leadership capability, and performance. The system has already demonstrated its ability to significantly reduce recruitment processing time with recent assessments and shortlisting exercises completed in approximately 30 minutes. This is TV1 News. After the break, PNGDF prep for modern combat and new rice mill unveiled in Tulum village.
For too long, banking has felt out of reach for many. But now, BSP's One-Took Wallet is here to change that. Send and receive money, pay bills, and top up. It's your money, wherever, whenever. Because at BSP, we are committed to improving how our customers connect to our One-Talks, to our family, to the ones we love. BSP's One-Took Wallet. Money made easy. Dial *131# for everyone.
What a game this has been. With a minute to go, it all comes down to this.
And here they come. They go wide. Passes to Becky. He juggles. Kicks it. Who will get there? No Kara. He's over. What a try. All the emotions are flowing. Jubilation. Ecstasy. What a game.
A true champion is measured by their courage, their determination, and their passion to never give up and to always keep trying. With a delicious Milo and milk taste and added nutrients, Milo and milk is a great way to fuel our little champions with nourishing energy every day. Because true champions give it their all.
Milo, PNG and Mia. Pine PNG made.
You have to meet my best friend. She's the sweetest. Hey, check out my hair.
Which one? The one on your head or the one in the sink? Relax. Next time, just use the Mega Growth Anti-Damage Relaxer. It's infused with wonder oils and conditioning proteins for visibly less hair breakage after retouching. Now your hair looks great.
Thank you.
Mega Growth Anti-Damage No-Light Cream Relaxer for visibly less hair breakage after retouching.
P&G's favorite soft drink now in bottles. Gold Sport brings you fresh, bold flavors in brand new 500ml bottles. Taste the rainbow. More freshness, more flavor, more fun. Lime, orange, raspberry, and pineapple. Proudly made in P&G. Proudly Gold Spot.
Use our tools and condom and one way where you can abrusim seek HIV, STI na unplanned pregnancy. Tingim, use him condom long right way. Stop safe na look out him yet. Use him condom all get a time. Suppose you know save long HIV status long partner blog you or suppose you got plenty partner. Use him condom good all get a time. Long haborusim seek HIV, STI na unplanned pregnancies. Use him condom banisim you yet na future blog you. This platok save ikam long National AIDS Council Secretariat.
Yumi Papa na Mama Ground. We protect our land, we provide for our families today and tomorrow. One kind thinking na pasin must stop. ICT infrastructure works the same way. It helps families stay connected, students keep learning, clinics reach patients, and businesses keep growing. When that connection is lost, we feel it because something important in our lives stopped working. That's why protecting ICT infrastructure is protecting our access to life-changing opportunities.
Welcome back. As part of Exercise Southern Jackaroo, PNG Defence Force troops teamed up with Australian soldiers from the 3rd Brigade in a high-tempo joint exercise, sharpening combat skills across mounted and dismounted operations in the Townsville Field training area. Soldiers from the 2nd Cavalry Regiment integrated PNGDF infantry into the Australian light armoured vehicles, combating mobility, reconnaissance and firepower to conduct raids deep inside simulated enemy territory.
A platoon from the PNGDF's 2nd Royal Pacific Infantry Regiment, or 2RPIR, was embedded within the Australian unit, gaining rare experience operating from light armoured vehicles. Lieutenant Emil Ryan of 2RPIR said the exposure to mounted operations had been challenging and rewarding. He also noted that as a dismounted unit, being mounted added a whole new dynamics. Despite the demanding conditions, including unfamiliar cold overnight temperatures, Lieutenant Ryan said the partnership was marked by strong camaraderie. Lieutenant Isaac Ralph, a troop commander from 2CAV, said the cavalry's role was to operate ahead of the main force, gathering critical intelligence and striking key targets. Operating primarily at night, the combined force pushed into contested areas using drones and dismounted teams to identify and strike targets through ambushes and raids. Once positions were secured, troops worked quickly to extract intelligence from captured enemy forces. The exercise also flipped the script, with the same call sign transitioning into an opposing Red Force role, tasked with disrupting friendly forces. The joint activity was part of Exercise Wantok Warrior, with PNGDF embedded into the broader Exercise Southern Jackaroo for 3 weeks, before transitioning to weapons training alongside 1st Battalion, the Royal Australian Regiment. Exercise Southern Jackaroo wraps up on July 3rd. Ruth Rongola, TVWAN News.
35 Papua New Guinea Defence Force personnel successfully completed 8 weeks of intensive training in automotive and carpentry trades, strengthening technical capability within the force. Delivered under the PNG Australia Partnership through Pacific Australia Skills, this initiative is part of the Australian Defence Force's broader support to strengthen PNGDF capability. The training supports PNGDF personnel to develop skills that meet industry standards and create pathways towards recognized trade qualifications. Of the 35 graduates, 16 completed Level 2 Carpentry and Construction, while 19 completed Level 1 Automotive throughout the program. The trainees gained practical and work-ready skills and knowledge designed to support their roles within the PNGDF. The training was also an opportunity to prepare the trainees for national trade testing. The Mama Helping Mama Association is supporting coffee farmers in the Imbongu district of Southern Highlands Province by donating 10,000 kina to the Imbongu Coffee Association to support the rehabilitation and expansion of its coffee nursery project. The funding was presented last week.
The 10,000 kina support follows an earlier contribution of 12,500 kina from the association. The latest assistance brings the total support provided to the coffee project to 22,500 kina. The initial funding enabled the association to construct a nursery house and purchase essential equipment, including wheelbarrows and other materials required to establish and maintain the nursery. Speaking during the presentation, Imbongu District Agriculture Officer James D. commended the Mama Helping Mama Association and its founder Ruth Undi for the continued dedication to supporting grassroots development initiatives. Mr. Deek acknowledged Mrs. Undi's approach to promoting self-reliance by empowering local farmers. On behalf of the Imbongu Coffee Association, Councillor Jack Karame also thanked Mrs. Undi for her support. Mr. Karame said the funding will help coffee growers improve the quality and quantity of seedlings produced through the nursery, ultimately increasing coffee production and improving household incomes. Ruth Rungula, TVWAN News.
Australia is supporting decentralized medical training in PNG by strengthening facilities such as the Mount Hagen Clinical School. New ICT upgrades are allowing students to attend lectures and clinical supervision online, linking them with teaching staff in Port Moresby. The school has already trained its first group of 6 final-year medical students, helping build a stronger rural health workforce. The 9th Biannual Military Wives Convention wrapped up in Port Moresby with a candle procession and Thanksgiving prayers, marking the end of a week-long gathering of more than 300 wives of PNG Defence personnel.
The closing ceremony at the DBTI Hall in Port Moresby began with a devotion led by Defence Chaplain Kakeni Noman, followed by speeches from the host unit president Eugenia Siaoa and PNGDF Deputy Commander Brigadier General Larry Opa. Siaoa encouraged participants to remain strong in their roles, describing women as agents of change and urging them to carry faith and resilience back into their homes. Brigadier General Opa praised the wives for supporting defense families and raising children, calling for courage and unity under the convention theme, Arise Estes for such time as this. He also announced plans for Papua New Guinea to host a Pacific-level convention in 2028, along with new welfare initiatives, including partnerships to provide safe spaces for families. The event ended with a symbolic candle handover and formal closing. Mason Lewis, TVWAN News.
The people of Tulum 1 and 2 in the Karins local level government area of Mendi Muhinu district, Southern Highlands Province, celebrated a major milestone yesterday with the official handover of a new rice mill. The rice mill is part of the Faith in Action for Peace project funded by World Vision USA and implemented by World Vision Papua New Guinea through its Empowered Worldview training program. For many years, the Tulum communities struggled with crime, violence, theft, and sorcery accusation-related violence, placing women and girls at greater risk. In 2024, World Vision began working with local faith leaders to promote peace and reconciliation through Empowered Worldview training. The program encouraged community members to reflect on their beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors using biblical teachings, helping to change mindsets and strengthen unity. As a result, 6 youth impact clubs were established to encourage young people to take part in positive community activities. World Vision also supplied rice seedlings to families and youth groups, enabling them to grow rice for food and income. The newly handed over rice mill will support these efforts by improving food security, promoting better nutrition, and creating sustainable livelihood opportunities for the community. Speaking during the handover ceremony, World Vision Anticipatory Project Coordinator Mapera Angus said, "The rice mill represented the power of faith and community working together to achieve lasting change."
World Vision come give him rice mill lo tulum, nom blo wampla man. This la rice mill blo whole tulum 1 na tulum 2 ba benefit lo this la rice. Community you got rice, you come and rice mill blue you.
Tulum Community Councillor Joshua Paul thanked World Vision for its support, describing the rice mill as a symbol of unity and hope. He said the project would help feed families while giving young people opportunities to build a better future through agriculture.
Thank you, World Vision!
And now the finance report. The kina closed lower at $0.2282 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying $0.2207, $0.3166 Australian dollars, 0.1864 euro, and 35.46 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, coffee, cocoa, and copper closed higher, while gold, palm oil, and crude oil closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, ASX closed lower, and all ordinaries closed lower as well. TV1 News continues when we come back. Stay with us.
For too long, banking has felt out of reach for many. But now, BSP's One Took Wallet is here to change that. Send and receive money, pay bills, and top up. It's your money, wherever, whenever. Because at BSP, we are committed to improving how our customers connect to our One Talks, to our family, to the ones we love. BSP's One Took Wallet. Money made easy. Dial *131# for everyone.
What a game this has been. With a minute to go, it all comes down to this.
And here they come. They go wide. Passes to Becky. He juggles. Kicks it. Who'll get there? No Cara. He's over. What a try. All the emotions are flowing. Jubilation. Ecstasy. What a game.
It's on! The clean cup! Justice on! Oh no! A spin!
Don't worry, Satso and B29 will win this cleanup.
Satso and B29 kick stains out of the game.
Once share and win!
Spotless victory!
Satso B29!
Satso and B29, your clean champions.
PNG LNG project has now generated more than 30 billion kina for Papua New Guinea since production commenced. Nearly half of this amount has been paid as tax. Equity distributions are paid to KPHL and MRDC based on the interest they hold. Tax is paid to the IRC, while development levies and royalties are paid to DPE.
Thanks for staying with us. Turning abroad, vets around the state are refusing to take sick wild birds in the wake of the first confirmed avian flu case here. So far, there haven't been any new cases reported of the disease, which has been responsible for the death of millions of birds and mammals overseas.
This wildlife rescue centre in the Onkaparinga Hills is staring down the threat of bird flu.
There is evidence it's infected over 100 mammals all around the world. So we haven't tested Australian wildlife, and this is going to be the test, and we don't want to be the people that find out that other animals can get it.
They're scrambling to set up a separate building to triage the animals and birds coming in. Other vets are refusing to take in sick birds after it was confirmed that the giant petrel discovered by bodyboarders had the H5 avian influenza.
Bird lands in the waves, very tired, gets hit by a wave, floating around trying to climb onto boards, etc., and ended up getting washed into the beach.
At this stage, there's no evidence of local transmission, but that isn't allaying fears.
Certainly for species like sea lions that are critically endangered in their own right, we'll be watching that very carefully, and we do have concern for that species in particular.
On Kangaroo Island, authorities have been boosting the population's health and building up numbers to help mitigate potential impacts.
That's what we call resilience work, so that population can breed better and then has a better chance of rebounding if impacted by H5 bird flu.
Reassurance for the public, the risk is low for people who don't frequently handle birds.
You have to be touching the bird and having some of the secretions from the bird enter our mucous membranes, i.e. our mouth or our eyes.
At this stage, the messaging remains much the same. If you see birds that look sick or unwell or are acting unusually, do not touch them. Instead, record the location, take a photo or a quick video and report it to environmental authorities.
The Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the federal government is still working to identify any Australians that may be caught up in the disaster.
This is horrific consequences of this earthquake. It's not clear yet if Australians are caught up in this, because Australians are great travellers, of course, right around the world. Given the numbers that have been impacted, it would certainly is possible that Australians are caught up in it. We're continuing to monitor the situation, and our heart goes out to anyone here who has relatives or friends in Venezuela, because this is one of the worst earthquakes that we've seen in recent times, with catastrophic human consequences, with a massive loss of life, but also massive infrastructure damage and real consequences for the people of Venezuela.
The Northern Territory's aviation sector has been dealt another blow, with the national carrier choosing to X one of its longest-running Central Australian services. Qantas has confirmed it has slashed its Alice Springs to Melbourne route, citing decrease in demand and rising costs. The economic pressures also seen the airline's Darwin to Singapore service suspended over the wet season.
The end of the runway for one of the Red Centre's longest running routes, with Qantas announcing it's scrapping flights between Alice Springs and Melbourne indefinitely.
This is devastating news for Central Australia. This service is such a critical component of not only the tourism industry to be able to get tourists in and out of the region, but also for the livability of the town.
The direct service currently operates 4 times a week, but now locals and tourists will have to transit through either Sydney or Adelaide.
I'm not terribly happy because we get very little out here as it is, and what we do get is expensive, and they've got us over a barrel really if we want to go somewhere, so it's not very fair.
It just isolates people.
Yes, it's a long way. It's a long way from nowhere. And
for tourism, it'd be worse for the tourism.
And it's not the only casualty. Flights between Darwin and Singapore will also be suspended over the wet season. In a statement, Qantas apologised to customers, saying the company knows how much people value direct connections. However, falling demand and rising costs mean the service is no longer viable. It went on to explain the airline tried to salvage the route by using efficient aircrafts and putting tickets on sale. Victoria is the second largest market of visitors to Central Australia, making this cut another hit to an industry already grappling with a cost of living and a fuel crisis.
It's going to have a major impact to our town, our region, our tourism industry.
I have family down in Victoria. It already cost me a bomb to get down there. There's already restricted flights, and now to cut that even more it just makes it even harder.
Leaving outback residents only more isolated.
A domestic violence survivor is fighting to have a former police detective husband kept behind bars as he attempts to be released on parole. For 5 years, Stella Magnisalis was repeatedly assaulted by her then-husband and says she continues to fear for her family's safety and wants him to serve his full sentence.
When Stella Magnisalis walked out of court 12 months ago, she felt relieved to have achieved justice for her and her daughter.
I thought, if he's going to kill me, she will be left with him. I have to do something different. And that was my driving force.
Her ex-husband, a police officer for 12 years, Matthew Allen Thompson, was sentenced to 2 years and 3 months jail after admitting to 6 assaults over 5 years. But he was given a non-parole period of 12 months and he's now applied to be released.
What would you say to the parole board when they're considering his application?
To serve his entire term in prison. He's a risk to society. Period.
After Stella Magnisalis met Thompson in 2013, she was repeatedly threatened, degraded and bashed, leaving her fearful for her life.
Curling up into a ball, stomping on my head. And all I remember is just asking him to stop, to please stop. And I remember saying that I'm sorry.
Stella Magnisalis says she's now determined to help other women escape abusive relationships. She also wants to change the way police and other organisations handle domestic violence cases.
Simple, open-ended question can lead to life-changing outcomes. It saves lives. Is everything okay? Are you all right at home? What's going on there?
We know that we won't get it right if we don't listen really carefully to people who have direct lived experience.
In a statement, SA Police says it's progressing domestic and family violence reforms, including enhancing policy, training, practice and oversight. Ms Magnisalis says she struggled to navigate the corrections and parole systems to find out when Thompson could be released. She's advocating for trauma-informed policies to be at the centre of domestic violence reforms and wants the recommendations of last year's Royal Commission to be addressed.
I have my daughter. She keeps me on my toes. She keeps me on track. And we bounce off of each other and ensures me that I'm using this as a platform for others. So I'm hopeful.
The parole board says Thompson is currently completing a domestic and family violence intervention program. Any parole decision is not expected until at least mid-October.
Some residents on Queensland's Capricorn Coast are raising concerns about a surge of planned senior lifestyle communities, saying infrastructure in the area isn't ready for the influx. But developers say the villages could be the answer to the housing crisis.
A quiet beach walk is the reason Joanne and Ron Ballard retired to central Queensland in 2021. But Yeppoon is about to undergo big change. 4 retirement developments have been approved for the region, with 2 more being assessed, totalling almost 2,000 new homes.
To have this concentrated number of over 50s in this smaller area, I just don't believe that we have the facilities.
It's one of the fastest growing regions in the state. A further population boost has some worried already stretched resources, like the 22-bed hospital, will be pushed to the brink. Experts say it's a common problem.
We're seeing that as a regular part of population growth across Queensland, but especially in places that have high scenic amenity.
The council says each project is heavily scrutinised.
We're advocating for more police, more teachers, a whole range of services here, but ultimately the local government can't fix everything.
The land lease sector, where people buy the house and lease the land, is now worth around $12 billion. GemLife, a company looking to build a resort in Yeppoon, says around 80% of buyers in its regional locations, like this new one in Rockhampton, are moving from the local area, freeing up housing stock. But some retirees want a pause in approvals, while infrastructure catches up.
And that ends the news segment. Stay tuned, sports is next.
Ready for the world, so is your TISA Visa card. Visa keeps you moving wherever you go, Papua New Guinea or abroad. Seamlessly pay for travel, dining, online shopping. Easily access your funds and instantly track your expenses. Every tap comes with security, trust, and peace of mind. Unlock the world of possibilities. And it all starts with the new TISA Visa card.
The PNG LNG project has now generated more than 30 billion kina for Papua New Guinea since production commenced. Nearly half of this amount has been paid as tax. Equity distributions are paid to KPHL and MRDC based on the interest they hold. Tax is paid to the IRC, while development levies and royalties are paid to DPE.
Welcome back. The 2026 Rugby League World Cup supporters merchandise is now available to Jacks of PNG following its unveiling yesterday in Port Moresby. The merchandise comes in different forms, including polo shirts and long-sleeve shirts, and fans can support their Kumuls and Orchids in their best outfits this World Cup. The PNG Kumuls and Orchids supporters merchandise was unveiled yesterday through a display by PNG Models. Marketing manager for Jacks of PNG, Annabelle Chen, said the partnership between Jacks of PNG and PNG Rugby League has seen the company producing some brilliant designed outfits over the years, and this year is no different. She urged supporters to buy themselves supporters merchandise leading into the World Cup 2026, which will be held towards the end of the year. Chen said it is important that Papua New Guinea citizens purchase the product because a portion of the money goes back to PNG Rugby League and the World Cup. Jacks of PNG hopes to sell as many products leading up to the games, making it possible for supporters to support in style. PNG will co-host the World Cup along with Australia. The Santos National Football Stadium is expected to host 2 Cumulus matches. The Cumulus is pooled in Group C and will play Tonga and France in Port Moresby. The PNG Orchids, on the other hand, is grouped in Pool B and will play New Zealand, France and Fiji. A lot is expected from the women's team, especially with the Santos Cup running for 3 years and the selectors have enough pool of players for selection. The merchandise is out and is now available in all Jacks of PNG shops throughout PNG. Fans are urged to get a match and ready to rally behind the national teams when the World Cup commences. The Papua New Guinea Kickboxing Federation received 300,000 kina in funding support from the National Gaming Control Board yesterday to deliver its Last Man Standing series, a nationwide kickboxing tournament. The funding provided under the NGCB's Give Back program will help the Federation promote youth participation in kickboxing while encouraging healthy lifestyles, discipline, and talent development across the country. PNG-KB's founding president, Stanley Nandex, thanked the national government and the NGCB for their support, saying the funding will strengthen the Federation's efforts to identify and develop future champions. Nandex said this support is important and will assist the Federation in delivering the Last Man Standing series and expand opportunities for young athletes throughout Papua New Guinea. He said the series will provide aspiring kickboxers with valuable competition experience while promoting values such as discipline, respect, and determination. NGCB Chief Executive Officer and Registrar Imelda Argon said the board is proud to partner with the PNG-KBF in advancing a program that promotes excellence, discipline, and community engagement. The Last Man Standing series is expected to provide a structured pathway for talented athletes to compete at higher levels and represent Papua New Guinea on the national and international stage, while inspiring more young Papua New Guineans to participate in sport. The PNG-KBF Last Man Standing Heat 3 is set for this Sunday and will be staged at the Tauranga Aquatic Centre, Port Moresby. From over 200 fighters registered during Heats 1 and 2, 80 fighters have been picked for this weekend's event. The Port Moresby AFL Premier Competition heads into Week 8 of Round 1 this weekend, featuring more fast, entertaining fixtures both in the men's and women's divisions.
Today's main clash at the Colts Ground in the men's division will see the informed Gurkha Bombers take on the much-improved Tigers boys from North Waigani. Tigers have made some big recruits this season and are aiming high with a strong mindset to stop Bombers' early winning streak. However, Bombers on the other hand are sharing the ladder lead and certainly won't give Tigers an easy game. With enough strength in the side, Bombers to win comfortably. In the earlier game, Dockers should comfortably account for Skyroos. At the Tauranga Oval on Saturday, an interesting duel between the two military teams, Tauranga Suns versus Murray Barracks defense side. Suns are in red-hot form and should easily beat defense. On Sunday, the Garahu Magpies will battle it out with ladder leaders Gordon's Kokofas. Kokofas are on a roll early in the season and will certainly prove a handful for the Pies. Kokofas to win in a close game. The main game will see the informed Swans take on the struggling West Eagles. It will be a tough day at the office for Eagles, tipping Swans to win on speed and agility. In the women's game on Saturday, the Dockers girls will be up against the Magpies, with the later tipped to win in a tight contest. The main game will see an even contest between Koboni and West Eagles, West to win by a close one. On Sunday, the Bombers girls will easily account for the struggling Tigers team.
That's it for sports. Now the weather forecast. In regional forecast, southern Port Moresby, partly cloudy with windy conditions. Popondetta partly cloudy with possible few showers. Momase, Lae, Madang and Vanimo cloudy periods with rain showers. New Guinea Islands, Lorengau and Kimbe partly cloudy with few showers. Buka partly cloudy with possible evening showers. And Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Mediterranean, Warburg cloudy with rain showers. Ocean forecast for PNG areas for the next 24 hours. Coral Sea, seas moderate to rough with southeast winds of 20 to 33 knots. Solomon Sea, seas moderate to patches rough with southeast winds of 10 to 20 knots, reaching 25 to 30 knots at times. Bismarck Sea, seas moderate to patches rough with southeast to northwest winds of 10 to 20 knots, reaching 25 to 33 knots at times. Pacific Ocean, seas light with southeast winds of 10 to 15 knots. And coastal waters forecast, waters of Finschhafen through Vitias Dampier Straits to Siasi Long Island and West New Britain, seas 2 to 3 meters. And waters of East New Britain and New Ireland to Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters, rising to 2.5 meters over St. George's Canal. And that wraps up the news tonight. Thanks for your company. Good night.
News was proudly brought to you by